What's going on, guys? It's Rage, and welcome to the last 20 minutes of the Black Ops 6 beta. I've been checking and refreshing Twitter just to see if there would be a chance if they were going to extend it, but it doesn't look like they're going to. So this is going to be the last 20 minutes of the beta. This is going to be the sit down and just talk about Black Ops 6 beta review kind of video. Real quick, I would say as my overall thoughts on the game, I really have been enjoying the feel of this game a lot. It's been really fun learning the Omni movement. I've been saying it a lot, but it really is the biggest change that we've seen to Call of Duty since the jetpack era of Call of Duty. It brings in a whole new feeling, a whole new way to play the game, and definitely increases the skill gap once again. In my opinion, the Omni movement's been feeling really good. I haven't noticed anything like too janky about it, I guess, for lack of a better term. Also, the maps here, Scud. I know a lot of people don't like Scud, but I actually kind of like this map. The maps are something that I definitely want to spend a lot of time talking about because, once again, Treyarch has talked a whole lot about how they wanted to design the maps in this game to be more small to medium-sized maps, which I really do think works extremely well as far as like Omni movement goes and the whole idea of this game being a action shooter, an action hero shooter, I think is how they've worded it. Really just for comparison's sake, I don't think Omni movement would work super well if you were playing on maps like Grozny Raid or something like that, you know, the huge Modern Warfare maps. Now, Scud here is again the more unpopular map in the beta. It is one of the more medium-sized maps along with Rewind. It's also, again, like I've been talking about, in really a lot of recent Call of Duties, that Hardpoint has become one of the best game modes to play, really just because of the changing spawn system. I know it seems like I'm dogging on Modern Warfare 2019, and I really don't mean for this to come off this way. It's just that that's when the biggest change to Call of Duty has come in recent years. That game was the biggest fundamental change that we have had in Call of Duty for a very, very long time. Whether for good or for bad, we're not here to talk about that today. One of the biggest things that has changed, though, since Modern Warfare 2019 is the overall spawn logic when it comes to respawn game modes. I feel like it goes hand in hand with the reason as to why Search and Destroy has become so popular over the years, because it feels like a lot of the time, the maps and the spawns just don't work super well for respawn game modes. And now, what was once the more popular game mode, like Domination, has now changed over to Hardpoint, because Hardpoint is now the game mode where there's at least some more control to the map. You can predict the flow a lot better. Domination nowadays is kind of hit or miss. Like, yeah, you can have A and B flag, and then you'll still end up spawning at C flag, and the spawns are constantly flipping. It's like the Domination flags don't hold any purpose or meaning anymore. And then I'm sure, as we all have realized over the past couple of years, there's a reason as to why anytime a map like Nuketown or Shipment, any small map comes to the game, there's always cries for a 24/7 small map playlist. It might sound pretty bad to say this, and I really don't mean for this to come off in that kind of bad way, but I really do feel like the overabundance of small maps in Shipment, for example, just Shipment as the prime example, has completely destroyed our perception of a lot of Call of Duty maps. It seems like now everyone just wants to just run face forward into Shipment and just not think about anything at all. And while I do understand that that can be very fun, it has me a little bit worried for the future of not just Black Ops 6, but how Call of Duty maps get designed going into the future. Because I feel like it is very important, of course, to, yeah, sure, have some small maps, you know, have that chaos, but also have the bigger maps, you know, more medium-sized, large-sized maps, where things like traditional ground war, 9v9, 10v10 can also thrive very well. It was something that a lot of the older Call of Duty maps had pretty well down packed. Like, you can go back and look at almost any old Call of Duty where ground war was a staple feature on launch, and now it seems like in Black Ops 6, I don't know if that's really going to be a thing. I would really love to see that traditional 9v9 ground war come back to Call of Duty as just a staple game mode and not just a featured playlist of 10v10, 12v12, whatever. But if our brain chemistry is so altered to Shipment and so, I'm sorry, brain rotted by it, it has me a little bit worried about what the map design is going to look like. Now, again, we also have heard the leaks that they were going to be bringing back some classic maps into this game. We've heard Firing Range 2, and then there was Fringe from Black Ops 3. At some point in time, again, in the past couple of months when we had those map leaks and when the original BO6 leaks were coming out, we saw that. So once the DLC cycle really gets going, once the post-launch support really gets going for this game, we're going to see some more maps like that. I, again, am willing to bet we're going to have some classic throwback maps. So we have a little bit more variety with some more medium-sized maps, some more classic-feeling Call of Duty maps. I'm all down for that. But yeah, just as of right now, I don't have any, like, major gripes with the maps in the game because I do understand what Treyarch was trying to accomplish with the Omni movement and the flow of it. Again, in my honest opinion, I really don't think Scud is a terrible map. I think this map actually works pretty well for Hardpoint. Again, yes, it is one of the bigger maps, but keeps the flow going. It's the exact same story with Rewind. Rewind is definitely one of the maps where I feel like, yeah, traditional ground war like 9v9 would work really, really well on this map. But then we have something like Babylon where it's really just another version of Shipment is what a lot of people have been comparing it to. It almost kind of feels like Showtime from Call of Duty Ghosts. You know how they had the base map Shipment like right in the center of it, but then they kind of had that outer ring to it? It almost kind of feels like Showtime. Now, of course, though, in mentioning Babylon, we have to talk about the spawns on that map, and really just the spawns in general, but Babylon, as we all know, is the one really bad map right now where the spawn trapping really seems to be busted. I think that spawn trapping and having map control in general is a good thing, at least to a certain extent. Not like shooting fish in a barrel just consistently over and over and over again, but I really do feel that that also needs to be adjusted in Call of Duty. Like, I don't know what happened to COD in this regard, where all of a sudden spawn trapping is the literal worst thing in the entire world. You can't have any sort of flow or control to the map without the spawns instantly flipping. Again, I'm not saying it's always a good thing to be consistently shooting fish in a barrel. Like, yeah, you need the spawns to flip every so often, but again, in just a lot of cases, especially in domination, zones, flags have almost no meaning anymore. But in the case of Babylon, though, it's actually really busted and really broken, because when you're sitting in that one corner of a flag, you're literally spawning on top of each other. So that I completely understand. I feel like I've been talking about it for years in that regard with domination. Like, the downfall of domination in Call of Duty actually breaks my heart. Perfect. Babylon domination as I'm talking about this. But yeah, that is the main thing that I wanted to talk about first, being the maps and the spawns. Overall, of course, the spawns could always use adjustments, especially here on Babylon. I have no doubt in my mind it will be adjusted going into the full launch of the game. The maps overall, I really do enjoy. There's really nothing that, you know, screams at me like this is actually terrible or anything like that. But this map here literally is just the shipment of the beta. You got this one center area, you got the outer ring around it, and you just go crazy. Now, of course, I like everything that I talk about here in this video. Go ahead and let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about the maps and spawns. I think it's also just very different pacing that we're experiencing in this game as opposed to recent Call of Duties. Again, just looking at the Warzone era of Call of Duty, you have Modern Warfare 2019, Modern Warfare 22, where the pacing is a little bit slower. You got Black Ops Cold War that really felt like a more classic feeling of COD. Call of Duty Vanguarded was absolutely insane with the way they did blitz pacing in that game. And honestly, with Modern Warfare 3, 10v10 is a ton of fun. Even Reg 6v6 feels good. Sledgehammer calmed it down a little bit from Call of Duty Vanguarded, but the pacing in MW3 is still really nice. I really like it a lot. And then here with Black Ops 6, it feels absolutely insane right now with the Omni movement, the size of the maps, the spawns and everything. I'm sure, again, it's going to get fleshed out. But again, though, I really do feel like shipment has had its consequences on the way that a lot of Call of Duty players view COD maps. That is the spawn trap that I'm talking about. Yeah, Babylon here is kind of wild with it. Also, again, on the flip side, that's kind of how old domination used to work, and I miss it.
Oh, this fucking guy.
Now, I tagged the collateral right there, and I did mention this on Monday's video. I talked a whole lot about the sniping, so if you guys want to hear more of my overall thoughts and opinions on the sniping, I'll go ahead and leave a little key card on the screen right now for you guys to go check out the recent video. I won't yap about it too much, but I really do like the feel of the LR762. I really like the feel of the Dragunov as well with the SVD. Here in the beta, though, it was a little bit wild in the thought of having to get it up to level 42 to get rapid fire, just so it felt a little bit faster, a little bit more competitive. Although this is definitely something I did want to bring up again as far as sniper balance and how it goes with the map design, the weapon balance in the game just in general. If you have a lot of small maps in this game, it's going to be very AR and SMG dominant, and if the snipers are too slow, too weak, whatever the case may be, the snipers at that point in time wouldn't fit super well into the sandbox of the game. They would feel very out of place. Even again, as of right now, with two of the maps that we have in the game, Derelict and Scud, those are really the only two maps where it's like, okay, yeah, you can use a sniper in a more traditional sniping role. I say traditional again very loosely because, again, I'm someone who runs around a quickscopes all the time, but if they were to balance it off of the traditional sense of just sitting back and sniping like that, there's not really a lot of room to do that in. With that being said, though, again, I know when it comes to just the overall balance of the attachments and the ADS speed and just speed in general handling on the snipers, probably could get buffed. Or for example, again, on controllers, you can completely remove the aim assist just like Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4, have them be really fast, have good handling, have that trade-off of no aim assist, but also still be fast enough to feel competitive within the game. Speaking of the overall weapon balance in the game, though, I really do like the feel of it a lot. Like, of all the times that I've picked up red guns, I'm not even just talking about the Jackal here in this regard, but the M4. I actually really enjoy the M4 in this game. It is a nice rifle. Thing is, though, again, Treyarch has told us that it is faster TTK than Cold War. I'm sure you guys have noticed the damage values when you die. It gives you that little overview. Like right here, it goes to 100 HP. I got hit 68 and 32. But notice how it took 3 hits from one gun and 2 from another. The thing is, yes, it is technically faster than Cold War. Oh, it's not on 150 HP anymore. I'm sorry, it's been one of my biggest gripes about Call of Duty as of recent, where everyone all of a sudden has such a problem with 150 HP. It's like, you do realize that the numerical value is almost redundant. It's literally all in the weapon balance. I've been making so many comparisons of the TTK in this game to Black Ops 1 because it feels just like that. It is 4 shots to take down a target. Seriously, think about it for a second. This guy's got it on lock. He's using a sniper scope on the XM4, but it took 4 shots to hit. Again, I've been talking about it so much. It is just like like Black Ops 1. Like, think about it in comparison, BO1 to MW2. MW2 had stopping power, and yeah, you were dying in like 2 to 3 shots most of the time. Get 2-shotted by a suppressed UMP-45, literally the best gun in the game. Black Ops 1, they slowed it down a little bit, and again, for example, in Black Ops Cold War, yeah, it's 150 HP. In Modern Warfare 3, it's 150 HP, but it's still 4 to 5 shots to take a target down. It is not hard! A part of me's getting heated about this because I'm like, dude, I really don't understand what some people are talking about, where it's like, oh, 150 HP is like the end of the world. Please stop it. Like, please, be real. It is really not that bad at all. Like, it genuinely feels like Black Ops 1 to me. It's always, again, just been one of my biggest gripes, because I'm like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. But also, again, goes the age-old debate of, oh, you're sniping, it's a one-hit kill. But then again, snipers are balanced so differently in Call of Duty nowadays, with the flinch, ADS times. We've been nerfed so hard over the years.
Rage!
Yo, what's good, man? How you doing?
Rage! Good shots, man.
Thank you, I appreciate it, bro. That's also another thing real quick that I wanted to talk about. We need to have something back. I don't know what changed and why we can't talk to the enemies during the best play of the game or the end of the game, but that really, really needs to come back. But yeah, again, though, with the weapon balance, it feels like Black Ops 1, the fire rate of weapons, like, it's still fast enough to where you're dropping people really quickly. You just have to hit the shots. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about as well, in relation to the flow of the maps and everything like that, I really don't think this game needs Tac Sprint. Like, I really don't think it does. The movement is already pretty solid, pretty fast enough. The maps are, again, small to medium sized. Like, yeah, sure, on a map like Scud or Rewind, it might help a little bit to have something like Tac Sprint, but I really don't think this game actually needs it, like, at all. Cold War worked out so well with not having Tac Sprint in the game, and honestly, one thing that they could do, think of it like the all-terrain boots in Modern Warfare 3 right now. It's basically lightweight. What they could do in this game is repurpose double time and change it out for lightweight, so you have more of that all-terrain, that overall faster base movement speed. It just feels like at times Tac Sprinting, it just really isn't even needed that much. And speaking of Tac Sprint, this is something that Treyarch needs to fix with the bolt-action sniper here. I'm assuming there's going to be more than just the LR762 for bolt-action snipers in this game, but that right there. Sledgehammer actually fixed this in Modern Warfare 3, that when you go to Tac Sprint while rechambering, if you notice when you shoot, you go to Tac Sprint, that your gun kind of jumps up a little bit while you're trying to rechamber, and it just kind of messes with the animation a lot. I think they need to get rid of that again. I really do believe they need to get rid of that again and just make it so your gun stays leveled, or maybe again, especially with dexterity, because I'm using that right now. Dexterity in BO6 helps a lot with keeping your weapon more stabilized, but I feel like that is an adjustment that could be made, especially to the bolt-action snipers here, just going into the future of this game. Oh my goodness. Why weren't they lined up? Why am I so ass? That would have actually been a ridiculously nice 5-on if that collat lined up. I think I may have already mentioned it in this video. I know I talked about it in my last video as well, but the collateral damage, the overall penetration power, I think could be buffed a little bit. Again, I know that's what FMJ is for. I've seen people hit collaterals with using rapid fire, but it just feels like at times it's pretty hit or miss. PSA from Treyarch, we're entering the shutdown phase of the Black Ops 6 open beta, and we'll be running some important behind-the-scenes tests starting at 10 AM Pacific. They haven't said anything about extending the beta. Double check Charlie Intel. It's the final day of the BO6 beta. It officially ends at 10 AM Pacific. Oh, yeah, they haven't said anything about it, but nothing about an extension. It's like 1:15 right now, and we're still playing. I was just looking at some of the responses to the Treyarch tweet, and one of the top responses was remove squad spawns, get rid of Tac Sprint, buff the snipers, always. But again, though, on the real, I really don't think this game needs Tac Sprint, and the whole thing with squad spawning, I'm very sorry to say it once again, it seems like I'm dogging on Modern Warfare 2019, but that is a Modern Warfare 2019 thing. The way that the Call of Duty engine works now is a unified COD engine. I'm sure we all know this. All the dev studios are working from the exact same one. It's a huge part of the reason as to why I feel like things don't feel the same when it comes to Treyarch Call of Duties or Sledgehammer CODs. This whole squad spawning thing has been a thing for a couple of years, and each dev studio has their different takes on it, I'll go ahead and say. In certain games, there's more emphasis on squad spawning, and then we have other games where they try to dial it back or maybe make some more adjustments based on it. The whole unified COD engine in Call of Duty HQ, I know a lot of people are just not happy with COD HQ right now, and this weekend, these past 2 weekends have been pretty frustrating because, yeah, of course, it's like you load up COD HQ, but because the main game is MW3, you're loading up MW3 first, and then you go and load up Black Ops 6. That'll change once BO6 comes out. And I completely understand why COD HQ is a thing. It's just for integrations and making everything much more seamless, especially for Warzone. On paper, it does make perfect sense, but in execution, as we've seen, it is frustrating. And one of my biggest worries over these past couple of years is how are the dev studios going to make it feel like it's their game? It's been one of the biggest criticisms of Call of Duty, especially here in the Warzone era, that everything just feels like another Modern Warfare 2019. It's why a game like Cold War or even Black Ops 6 here feels so different, because it's actually different to Modern Warfare 2019, but also at the same time, it still feels kind of samey just because of the mechanics of the game. What I'm worried about and missing is the individual charm from each of the studios. Like back in the older days of Call of Duty, you were able to tell when you were playing an Infinity Ward game or a Treyarch game. The jump from MW2 to Black Ops 1, even COD 4 to World at War. The difference in these games, while they might seem minimal, actually make a giant difference. It's things like that where each dev studio has their own way of building the game, but now that everything kind of feels the same just for the sake of integrations in Warzone, it all blends together, it feels kind of samey, so that's always been one of my biggest worries. Also, a huge part of the reason as to why I've been so excited to really just keep playing this game as far as Omni movement goes, because again, it's genuinely different. It's very different for Call of Duty. I know there's other games out there, like again, Max Payne, that have done this kind of Omni movement stuff. I don't have experience with it. I haven't played those games, so I genuinely don't know. Just making comparison to what I know in Call of Duty. Despite the unified Call of Duty engine, the feeling of Omni movement, the TTK, it still feels like a Black Ops game to me. A very different Black Ops game to say the least, but Black Ops nonetheless. The whole idea and execution of Omni movement in the first place, I really do think goes to show that despite the unified Call of Duty engine and oh, it's just the same thing over and over and over again, it really does go to show that the developers in each studio has their own way, make significant enough changes, and make the games still feel different despite being based off the same core mechanics and fundamentals and such. The same engine, whatever you want to call it. I kind of wanted to get off the hard point because I don't want this game to end right away, and yup, they just started spawning right behind me, man. I had it on lock. It's 1:45 right now, and the servers are still going. I mean, honestly, at this rate, I probably should have just started streaming, but it's whatever. On that note, I think that's good for me. I think I talked about everything that I really wanted to. Again, I don't hate the maps. I actually do enjoy the maps. I see what Treyarch is doing with them. I'm just very curious as to what adjustments could be made to Omni movement. Actually, not even just the Omni movement, just straight up Tac Sprint, I don't think needs to be in the game at all, but Omni movement has been a lot of fun, and combining that with the sniping, getting used to the feeling of the sniping, again, it's very Black Ops 1-esque, which I do think is a really nice challenge, but I also don't know if it's going to be something where, if they nerf it too far back, is it going to completely kill sniping in this game just like it did on Black Ops 1 launch when they nerfed it too hard. Sniping as is right now is in a good spot. The overall weapon TTK, again, is in a very good spot, also with the Jackal PDW getting nerfed. That's like a Treyarch trademark of almost always having some super overpowered SMG in the beta of a game. Overall, again, really enjoying the game. I think that having things like Sleeper Agent and being able to meat shield, body shield is hilarious. But yeah, again, though, I think that covers just about everything that I wanted to talk about. Overall, I would give this beta, I would say if I were to rate it, I'd probably give it a 7, maybe 7.5 out of 10 or so. I am thoroughly enjoying it for what it's worth. There are still some adjustments that could be made to the spawns and things like that, and in due time, I think a lot of things will be fleshed out. On the real though, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go ahead and let me know what your thoughts are on the Black Ops 6 beta war down in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for checking out this video. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. It's been Rage, and I will talk to you guys later. Take care, everybody. We'll see some Black Ops 6 again on October 25th.